scholarship. I received a full scholarship to a school that I was barely accepted into. Just in a year's time, I had gone from a 2.5 GPA to being a scholarship student. But the change took a lot longer than a year. The ending result seemed like a year, but the process that initiated the change took years. It started when I was in 9th and 10th grade, but I didn't start seeing the results that I wanted to see until years later. Another story is that of Wesley Matthews. Wesley Matthews is an NBA player for the Portland Trail Blazers. He was drafted 2 years ago. No, he wasn't drafted 2 years ago, I'm sorry. Wesley Matthews, can you imagine how he felt that night, not being drafted? After 2 rounds and about 60 names of people that got called, his dreams and everything he worked for his entire life, all of the hours in the gym, all of the practice, all of the hard work, to hear his name not be called on that night? How do you think that would make you feel if you lived your life for one moment, only to have you skipped and passed over? Wesley Matthews then had to take another route where he went into the NBDL, where because of injuries, he was picked up by an NBA team a few months after that. He was picked up, and then because of injuries, cracked the starting lineup. And for the Utah Jazz, he played against the Lakers in the playoffs. And he had a good showing against one of the best players in the NBA, and that's Kobe Bryant. And once the season was over, Clay Matthews received an offer from the Trailblazers for a contract for $6 million a year. Being drafted in the NBA, you are bound to rookie salary structures. So by not being drafted, it actually turned out to be a blessing in disguise because he was not bound by the salary restrictions. So right now, today, Wesley Matthews is making more money than every player that was drafted that night that he didn't hear his name called. Many people from the outside looking in just see the ending result and don't realize all that had to happen in order for things to end up the way it did. That thing helped both Matthews and myself. The thing that helped both Matthews and myself was persistence and how you respond to adversity. Matthews could have given up on his dream when he wasn't drafted. The same time when I was barely accepting the university, I could have given up. Michael Jordan said in the commercial that he used his setbacks to fuel his passion. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. Notice that each setback in these 3 cases happened at different ages in each particular phase. Jordan in high school, myself, a freshman in college, and Matthews once he graduated from college. Everyone goes through different paths and journeys. It's what makes us individuals. That's right. Also relates to the point that I made earlier about there being no step-by-step manual or blueprint for success. You cannot define your life in terms of someone else's success and what they go through. The setbacks in these 3 cases had nothing to do with each other and were totally unrelated. The only constant that was in each story was the response, the desire and the will to be better, to not give up, to not doubt yourself when setbacks occur. The ending result could be so significant and happen relatively quickly, but the process usually takes many years. The part you have to also realize is the change can be and just likely is to be negative. A car accident, a loss of a job, or even a plane falling out of the sky on our building right now. It's just things that can happen. They can change your life very quickly for the negative. Contrary to popular belief, you don't have to be in the wrong place at the wrong time for something bad to happen to you. But once again, it comes down to your response. How you respond to a setback that occurs that will ultimately determine what happens. Trouble doesn't last always. After every dark comes the light of day. And even when it's nighttime, the sun is shining somewhere. Good things do not last forever either. It's a common dynamic about life. There are ups and downs, and 99% of the time, you will be totally unaware of the ups and downs that are about to occur. You never know what the next day, hour, or minute holds, which is why it's important to stay humble and have faith in God as well as your own abilities. So how does this relate to becoming an able man? Are you supposed to be this macho figure who is unaffected by struggle and mask your feelings about your current state? No. You should live your life in a way that is able to better withstand hardships as best as you can. One of the biggest qualities you have to have is patience. We live in a society that is all about instant gratification. A society that will rather spend money on get-rich-quick videos than saving or investing. As simple as the concept of being exercise. It's often the hardest thing for people to exercise. But can you blame us? Science and technology have taught us to find easier ways to do things in a world where fast food and Google have made preparing meals and flipping through a encyclopedia almost obsolete. Be aware that everything is a process. Neither my story nor that of Wesley Matthews was an overnight success story. The thought that good things are supposed to happen overnight is not one that is frequently seen. That's what makes the stories like those such a big deal. As a matter of fact, they happen so rarely that when good things happen quickly, we term them as miracles. You've heard the phrase that good things take time, but it's not just empty time. It's time where you're actively continuing to fight and improve. If Matthews would not have been in shape when he was waiting for his chance in the NBA, he would have missed his chance. Through your tough times, remember to be patient and that everything, even our own development, takes time. You will make mistakes. You will have setbacks, but it's part of the process, like John said. Don't beat yourself up and think that you have failed when something bad happens. You should be your toughest critic, but not to the point where you damage your self-esteem and begin to doubt yourself. Right. Doubting yourself is the first step towards quitting. Once you begin to doubt yourself, you will not put forth the same effort you once did once you realize, whether you realize it or not. Stay goal-oriented. The day that you no longer have goals is the day that you commit psychological and mental suicide. No matter what your age is. If you have no goals, you have nothing to live for. If you have nothing to live for, you are effectively dead. This is where legends are made. I say this a lot. I say this a lot, though, because it's so true. You see this in sports. You see this in any situation where you need to rise to the occasion, where you need to produce. The times that define our character and strength quantify our resilience and persistence. What is a legend? Why do I say this all the time? A legend is someone who's known for doing great things, not only when it's convenient, but when it's needed the most, and may actually be sacrificing to do these things. These people we have on the mirror are legends. Martin Luther King is a legend. When he was marching, when he wanted to put an end to the strife and the civil injustice that was going on in the South, many preachers disagreed with Martin Luther King, told him he was a fool for agitating those white people. And if he had listened to them, we probably would be a lot worse off than we are today. Becoming an able man is about remembering your past, taking advantage of the present, as well as planning for the future. And being a legend is what you want to strive to be. You want to rise to the occasion in times where it's not easy, where it's easy to do things where everything is all good. But when times are hard, will you still be able to get the job done? That's what it means to be a legend. You see this every day. You see times where people are called, this is where legends are made. And to wrap up, I just want to emphasize the three things. And that's to remember yesterday, to seize today, and plan for tomorrow, and becoming an able man.